Welcome to Birds Play Sports, where we weekly cover Ravens and Orioles news. We're your hosts, TJ and Jared. And in this video, we're going to be doing the pregame for our Week 4 matchup against the Kansas City Chiefs. Um, you know, Unfortunately, it's a very big. Well, I guess either way, if we were, winning, had a winning record, it would be a very big game. But a very crucial game early on in the season. Both teams are coming in 1-2. Both teams don't want to be 1-3, so this is a very important game, and just to start off this video, very quickly, with a hot take, I feel like, this has to be the new week 1 moving forward. We have to forget about the Bills game, the Browns game, and the Lions game. This has to be the new week 1 moving forward because this is a great opportunity for us to change the tide of the season. So far through the first 3 weeks, we have underperformed in a way of our expectations where defense hasn't been as explosive or locked down. The run game has been kind of pedestrian, very mediocre. And, our offensive line play hasn't, we haven't seen guys really evolve or, just upgrade in any way. We were hoping for that leap from Falele. We were hoping from that leap for Voorhees, at least, what we heard, when the practice, training camp. We haven't seen that from these guys. And so I feel like this is a great opportunity to get a win against a team who has had your number. I think Patrick Mahomes is like 5-1 against us. And we've never won an Arrowhead before. So it's a very daunting task. It's like a storybook, moment, right here. And I feel like this is a great opportunity for the Ravens to turn the tide. And I feel like we will, but that's for later on in the video for our predictions. But I want to pivot to you, man. What are you thinking? Your early thoughts about this game.
There's freaking a little bug in here. It's bothering me.
I'm playing with flies, man.
Yeah, it's bothering me. Like, anyways, look, I'll make a
Eyes
note that
crossed.
we're 1-5 against Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs, and the only time we won is when I went. But that's beside the point.
And he
But
didn't take you guys. He didn't even invite me to that game. That's crazy.
shut up.
He
You're
doesn't
gonna
like
you're
me,
gonna operate
dog.
your bad juju. By now. You probably fell asleep. Anyways, anyways, I think this game, like you had mentioned, neither team wants to go 1-3. And we really can't go 1-3 because we put ourselves in a 4-game hole versus the Bills. Like which is, I mean, they got to play with the Saints this week. Like, who the fuck do they have to play that serious down the stretch? That's not the Chiefs. Like, I guess they got to play the Eagles or whatever. Like, you
It's
might as
like
well
week
have a go up against
17.
Polly at this point. Like that
Yeah.
seems like to be their schedule for some reason. You know, like why can't we get that as an easy schedule? Every time we win the division, our next year is the freaking like we got to play like the freaking 83 Bears or whatever. Like I don't get it. Like, but anyways, um, you know, we obviously haven't won an Arrowhead. We're putting ourselves, we put ourselves in the position to put our to be in a must-win game. And a lot of that has to do with execution and coaching and all that stuff. But you know, I don't know. I think what the closest we've ever won an Arrowhead was probably in 2018. 2019 they kind of dominated us. But we came back late. In 20 last year they weren't dominating us, but we kept it close, but it was like the first game with a whole bunch of new things.
Yep.
And this year it's not much different. So I don't like being put our backs against the wall against these guys. I understand their backs are kind of in the wall against the wall as well. They've really struggled this year, finding a groove as well. They're kind of in the predicament we're in, but at least they have good defensive line play. Well, I don't know
Yep.
about that, but you know, I'll say that I mean they've played some difficult teams though, like the Chargers and the Eagles and company. So maybe they can't beat good teams. I don't know. Like maybe that. Well, I guess we haven't really beat a good team yet either. So I don't know. It's just a very weird game. Like usually these two teams are 3-0 or 2-1 or whatever, and like you're expecting them to fight for 4-0 whatever or whatever. But it's weird how one of these teams is fighting not to go 1-3. Like you just didn't expect that.
Mm.
Especially early on this year. Um, you have to listen to Tony Romo for freaking 3 hours, which I'd rather I'm not going to say that because I don't want to wish it upon myself, but I'd rather not listen to him for 3 hours. Is what I'm trying to say. Him and Jim Nance, I can't stand those two. I'm mad that they're like the main broadcasting crew because they're just awful. Like they're almost as bad as Chris Collinsworth to me. I mean, I don't have a problem with Jim Nantz. It's Romo. I just don't like him, But let me think. Obviously we're not gonna have guys like Matt Bike. We're not gonna have Broderick Washington. I don't know about Ronnie Stanley. I'm not sure about KVN. We're gonna be down a lot of guys this game.
You
Um, so I think that there's a lot that are obviously we're already, like I said, our bags are already against the wall, but a lot of these things are making it kind of harder, to push forward, give up some space, away from that wall. Obviously, even if we lose, then it's not the end of the world. We're only 1-3. We're not 1-6, but you're really putting yourself in a very terrible spot because now you have the two teams that are possibly going to be ahead of you in the standings or have a tiebreaker over you now. So like that's just the unfortunate part about it. So I really just do think that the AFC Championship is going to be in Buffalo, like, which is kind of unfortunate. But I mean, you know, they got to play these easy ass teams, and we're both running through the gauntlet here. So that's just if you go in the Super Bowl this year, you got to go through Buffalo.
Yeah, and hopefully it can, be a different outcome than that. But, to your point about, guys, being injured and possibly not playing in this game, I feel like, that's definitely a big impact, especially with, how Mahomes likes to kind of dink and dunk down the field, with their offense. They're going to be getting Xavier Worthy back. So there's a deep shot possibility with that, with, our suspect secondary. We saw Marlon Humphrey last week. He just got shredded by Amon-Ra St. Brown. Like, it seemed like he was always a yard or two behind him. And, obviously there's things going on with his podcast and podcasting right after the game, but we need to really be locked in. These guys don't have as good as wide receivers like the Lions do, or maybe even the Bills, compared to them, but they still can make plays and get separation. And that's the main thing that we need to, lock on in this game. Travis Kelsey gets separation. Xavier Worthy gets separation. Juju Smith Schuster, Hollywood Brown, they get separation. And as long as they can do that, the yards after catchability is dangerous. And I feel like that's something that we really need to hone on in, really need to look out for. And we just need to try to prevent. Their run game, I'm not really, fearful or worried about their run game because Pacheco and, P. Ryan, whatever his name is, those are guys that, you're not really going to fear, for like how you fear Jameer Gibbs and David Montgomery. So I feel like our defensive line, if we can just hold up, with them, for the majority of the game, we just bend, don't break, because they're bound to get, an 8 or 9 yard run here and there. It's the Ravens' run defense for all we know this year. This, it's gonna, it's bound to happen. But I feel like we just can't allow those deep shots, those dink and dunk passing game, because if we do, it's going to be a long game. The defense is going to be out there for a while, and the offense is going to have less opportunities. And
Yeah,
we really need to change the tide against the Chiefs. I've been saying this to you, many times before this game. In the off season, we're due for a win against them. There can't be a time where we just will never beat them again. We have to be due for a win against them, and I feel like it's coming. Hopefully tomorrow. But that's just my take on really the defense. Just sort of talk about the offense, and I'm gonna pass it to you, and then we can look at the team stats. I'm excited, to see the offense tomorrow. I think Isaiah Likely is gonna, rejuvenate this offense. He's gonna bring, a different. I don't know what's my voice is changing here. He's gonna bring a different type of spark, and I feel like he's gonna really open up the passing game. He's a great run blocker as well, great blocker in general. And I can't wait to see what we do with him. I hope it's not like one of those scenarios where in the 2023 AFC Championship, we were excited about Mark Andrews coming back, and then we didn't use him in that game. I hope it's a little bit different with this game. I hope we actually throw him the ball because he went off against the Chiefs the last time. He really did, and the Chiefs had no answer for him. And with Zay Flowers and Bateman and D Hop and Devontae Walker, you have all of these weapons. You have all of these options to go to. You have 1A, 1B, 1C. You have a lot of ones if Derrick Henry isn't working. And we need to be more creative with that. We didn't really get creative in the Lions game until we got to the goal line where the point is not to be creative. So we need to keep it simple. We need to do what we need to work with what's working, and we just need to be good enough to score points. That's all it takes against the Chiefs. So, I'm hoping Isaiah Likely can, come back and do good. And, I just want to hear what you got to think, what you think.
Well, I hope that we're not going to see some kind of flea flicker, first play, fumble, or interception. Like talking
Oh,
about
yeah.
getting creative. Because I just don't think Todd Munkett has that creative bag in him.
Yeah, he
Like
doesn't have that. Yeah.
I don't because if I see Derrick Henry pass one time and he throws a pick, I'm going upstairs and going to bed. Like so. I'm not interested in watching that. But you know, yeah, I mean, we have to protect the football. That's priority number one is protecting the football. We can't fumble, no interceptions, nothing stupid like that, no sack fumble. But can we please just see some progression from 77 and 72, man? Like Voorhees and Falele, like if I see the first play of the game, I swear to God, if Chris Jones just busts through the line, I'm just gonna be like, oh, all right, it's gonna be like this again. Like it's just we can't survive a whole season doing that. Like we may be able to beat the Jets, or whoever doing that, but like we're not going to beat the Chiefs doing that, or the Bills, or whoever. Like I don't care who your offensive line or defensive front is. Like so the offensive line's really got to be locked into this game. They really got to be focused and ready to be able to perform because I mean, Lamar keeps getting sacked 7 times a week. We shouldn't expect Lamar to play this whole season. I'll tell you that now.
Oh,
You
yeah,
know,
for sure.
it's like it's just going to be 2021 and 2022 all over again. And I don't want to say that, but it's the truth. I guess the good thing about we have Stanley, but I don't even know if he's going to play. So we might be four offensive linemen down, pretty much. Of poor play. So Linderbaum's gonna have a hell of a task next to him, because he's gonna have two Duverses next to him possibly on each side. So that might not be a fun watch. But yeah, I like you'd said, these guys. I would like to see a quick game. Not a quick game, but like the quick game.
Yeah.
Short game, think and dunk. That's kind of what they transitioned. Josh Allen into. Is that quick game guy because they knew he was too stupid to freaking help him play guy. But you know, I think that overall, that's something we got to start seeing, because I don't think that we have the line to be that long developing route, guys, like how we want to be. I think that that's what the identity of the offense Munkin wants is big plays or whatnot. But I understand that big plays are great and all, but sometimes, I mean, a battle is won these games through just by grinding it out all game. I mean, that's just what it's going to take, and they haven't shown me that. They haven't shown me that they can do that. This is the reason why we had problems versus the Steelers all these years. Is they knew that we wanted big plays. They prevented big plays. Lamar would always get sacked or have to throw a pick or fumble, whatever, and it would just look sloppy because that's the way you can stop Lamar is by taking away the big playability. And I think that the Chiefs possibly have the personnel to do that. So being able to because my opinion they're probably going to send the blitz like how they did all those times we've played them
Yeah.
so being able to attack the blitz against them is going to be important. What is the weak side? Who's going to have less people on the one side? It's going to be the right, it's going to be the left, whatever it's coming from. Get that ball out. Isaiah Likely, Mark Andrews, and Mark Andrews in particular. I understand you had a good game against the Lions. I've never seen you show up against the Chiefs. So this is going to be a big game for him. And even Bateman and Zay, get some Zay screens going, and block, Bateman block, he's good at blocking, Bateman's actually great at blocking, I'll say that. But so I would like to see a quick game going on Sunday because I don't know, like I feel like we're in for a long one if we keep relying on the big play. Which I mean, you go for the big play, obviously. If the big play is there, take it. But like if it's not, don't wait for it to be there.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think those are great points. And, hopefully we can, develop that, that type of repertoire for our offense. And
Yeah,
hopefully it all starts tomorrow, man. That's what I'm saying. Tomorrow is like a whole new week one. Hopefully all this stuff that we're hoping for can start tomorrow.
I agree.
Yeah.
Ready to the stats.
Let's go.
All right.
With your orange hair.
I'm orange here. All right, you ready? Can you see it?
Sir.
All right. So Kansas City, not their average offense we're used to. They average 20 points per game, which is 21st in the league. They average 315.7 yards per game, which is 18th in the league. They average 0.330 points per play, which is 22nd in the league. Their yards per play is at 5.2, which is 19th in the league. Their third down conversion rate is at 41.46%, which is 14th in the league. Their fourth down conversion rate is at 83.33%, which is 17th in the league. Their red zone scoring touchdown percentage is at 50%, which is 20th in the league. And they average 2 touchdowns per game. Let me get this added to the way. Their rushing statistics, their rush play percentage is at 39.1, which is 23rd in the league. Their yards per rush is at 4.6, which is 14th in the league. Their rushes per game is at 23.7, which is 21st in the league. Their rush yards per game is at 108, which is 17th in the league. Their rush touchdowns per game is at 1, which is ninth in the league. And finally, their passing statistics. They pass the ball 60.99% of the time, which is 10th in the league. Their completion percentage is at 59.5%, which is 30th in the league. Their yards per pass is at 6.4, which is 19th in the league. Their passes per game is at 35, which is 12th in the league. Their pass yards per game is at 207.7, which is 15th in the league. And their interception throw percentage is at 0.95%, which is ninth in the league. And their quarterback sack percentage is at 5.41%, which is 13th in the league. So not the Kansas City offense we're used to. But it seems like, you know, I don't know. I don't know how to read their offense, because they can obviously be explosive, at times. So this is definitely not like I said, not the Kansas City offense we're used to. So you want to go into the defense here?
Let's go. So opponent points per game is 18.7, which is ninth in the league. Opponent yards per game is 297, which is 11th.
Hmm.
Opponent points per play is 0.309, which is 10th. Opponent yards per play is 4.9, which is 12th. Opponent third down conversion percentage is 35.14, which is ninth. Opponent fourth down conversion percentage is dead straight 50%, which is sixth in the league. Opponent red zone scoring percentage touchdowns is 55.56, which is 15th. And opponent touchdowns per game is 2, which is ninth in the league. Their rushing statistics, opponent rush play percentage is 47.51, which is 26. Opponent yards per rush is 4, which is 11th. Wow. Opponent rushes per game is 28.7, which is 24th. Opponent rush yards per game is 114, which is 18th in the league. Opponent rush TDs per game is 1, which is also 18th. Their pass play percentage is 52.49, which is 7th. Opponent completion percentage is 65.91, which is 18th. Opponent yards per pass is 6.6, which is 15th. Opponent passes per game is 29.3, which is 8th. Opponent pass yards per game is 183, which is 10th. And opponent, oh my God, why did I say it like that? Opponent interception thrown percentage is 2.27, which is 13th. And their sack percentage is 7.37, which is 14th.
So yeah, very interesting offense to and defense to kind of go over. It feels like their rushing, attack, not rushing attack, but rushing defense, running defense. I don't know what I'm trying to say, but it seems to be not as good as it used to be. And I don't know if you did see Chris Jones was put on the injury report today, but I don't think it
Good.
was because of an injury. I don't know if you saw that, so that's going to be something to monitor. But anyways, to move on to the individual player statistics here, Patrick Mahomes. So far this season has been 62 for 105, which is good for a 59% completion percentage for 669 yards, 6.4 yards per reception or whatever it was, and he has 3 touchdowns and 1 interception. He's been sacked 6 times this year. He has an 83.4 quarterback rating so far this season. Patrick Mahomes is also their leading rusher. He has 18 carries for 125 yards, 6.9 yards per carry. He has 2 rushing touchdowns and averages 41.7 yards per game. That's kind of crazy. Isaiah Pacheco has 25 carries for 92 yards, which is good for 3.7 yards per carry. He has no touchdown, and he averaged 30.7 yards per game. Kareem Hunt has 23 carries for 81 yards, which is good for 3.5 yards per carry. He has one touchdown. He averages 27 yards per game. And Bernard Smith has 3 carries for 15 yards. But not Bernard.
Rashard.
Richard. Sorry, but I'm sorry. I don't have my glasses on. Leave me alone. Uh, and their other guy is 1 for 11. So their running game is very, very weak. And as I say that, they're going to rush for 200 yards on Sunday.
Bro, if they rush for 200 yards, I'm never watching a Ravens game again, bro.
If they rush for 200 yards, Zach Orr needs to be fired. Like
The
that's
next day,
just
immediately after the game, bro.
I don't want to say not even the next day. He might not. He might as soon
Bro,
as the game ends, like just
they
be
have
like, all right,
two wide
huh?
receivers. They have two wide receivers in their rushing game. Like, come on, bro.
They do. Oh shit, I didn't recognize that. That's funny. 1 for 0. Oh, that's when he died on the play, didn't he? Xavier Worthy. Anyways, their leading receiver is an old friend, Hollywood Brown. He has 19 receptions on 27 targets for 171 yards, 9 yards per catch, no touchdowns, and he averages 57 yards per game. Tyquan Thornton has 9 receptions on 18 targets, 171 yards as well, which is good for 19 yards per catch. He has two
He's good.
touchdowns, and he has also averages 57 yards per game. Big, deep play threat. I don't know how much they're going to use him with Xavier Worthy back, but I guess we'll see. Travis Swift. I'm sorry, Travis Kelsey. Has 10 receptions for 17 targets. For 134 yards. He averages 13.4 yards per catch. He has a touchdown and he averages 44.7 yards per game. Juju Smith-Schuster has 10 receptions from 12 targets for 115 yards, 11.5 yards per catch, no touchdowns, and 38.3 yards per catch. And then everybody else. I mean, we're not going to talk about everybody else. Kareem Hunt, 4 for 5 for 23 yards. He's probably the best kicker on their team. Noah Gray has 5 receptions on 12 targets. And yeah, again, like everybody else. So, like I said before, not the Kansas City offense we're used to, but if there was a chance for a get good game, whatever you want to call it, then this is one for them.
Oh
Anyways,
my god, it's so bad. Okay, to start off with Nick Bolt. Oh, you want to go through the individual?
yeah. Well, you do
Okay,
like the top like 10 or top 5 or whatever, whichever you choose to do, and then I'll sort it out for you like how I did last time.
got you. So Nick Bolton, he has 28 total tackles. Shamari Connor has 24 total tackles. Jalen Watson has 22 total tackles. Drew Tranquil, I hate him, he has 17 total tackles. George Karloftis has oh my god, Karloftis. George Karloftis,
Yep.
16 total tackles. Trent McDuffie has 12 total tackles. Leo Chanel, why do they have such weird names? Three. Leo Chanel has 10 total tackles. Brian Cook, there we go. There's finally a normal name to read.
The next
Brian
one's
Cook,
blew up.
yeah. Brian Cook has 9 total tackles. Charles Omenihu has 7. Jalen Hicks has 7, and Chris Jones has 5.
All right, we'll switch over to sacks here.
Sad. Okay. George Karloftis. Oh my God. Karloftis. His name is making me sound like Mike Tyson right now. George Karloftis has
He
2
said it, not
sacks.
me.
Yeah, don't get me, Mike. He has 2 sacks. Drew Tranquil also has 2 sacks. Chris Jones. I'm not gonna lie, Chris Jones be sounding like Mike Tyson sometimes when he talks.
Again, he said it, not me.
Chris Jones. I keep thinking about that video at the combine whenever I take.
Anyway, we're not talking about that video.
Chris Jones has 1 sack. Well, he has a sack.
If you listen to this, do not watch the Chris Jones combine video. Not watch it unless you're a
Yeah.
freak.
Chris Jones has a sack. Omar Norman Lott has a sack, and that's it.
We'll do interceptions.
Mhm. Interceptions. Chris Roland Wallace has, has an interception. I swear, if Lamar throws an interception to him, I'm going to be so mad. He has an interception, and Jalen Watson has an interception as well. So not even Trent McDuffie has one yet, which is surprising.
Yeah, definitely. That was a fun read. But So I guess we don't got a lot of time left, so I guess we can get into predictions, bold
So
predictions, breakout players, and game predictions. So just give us your bold prediction, your breakout player first, and then obviously the game
yeah.
prediction.
So my bold prediction is, obviously last week we couldn't get any sacks. And, just historically against Mahomes, we don't get a lot of sacks or pressures. I think in this game, we get 3 sacks. You know, I think John Jenkins has a good game. And I think he's a part of that as well overall. And I think Owe, gets some respect back on his name as well. So 3 team sacks, bold prediction. And we're doing the scores, right? Score prediction right now, right?
Your breakout player first.
Breakout player. Breakout player. Um, I'll say John Jenkins. John Jenkins and Owe. Both of them combined.
Okay. All
And
right.
then final score. I'll say my final score is going to be 20-17. Tyler Loop kicks a game-winning field goal. Lamar gets them in position, and it's a really close game. Throughout the game, when one of those nail biters, and we get that game-winning kick as the clock expires.
All right. My breakout player or bold prediction. Bold predictions first. My bold prediction is this is gonna be a crazy one. Already ready? I think that we don't allow 200 yards on the ground this time, but we still allow 100. I think my breakout player will be. I think Zay. I think he gets a good 100 yards tomorrow. Maybe a touchdown or two. He's not really a touchdown guy, but I think he gets a touchdown, and hopefully he doesn't dive in the end zone. And then my prediction. I haven't done this very much on this channel, but I think we're gonna lose on Sunday, and I think we're gonna lose 24 to no 27-19.
Wow.
That's my prediction. And I don't think that our offensive line just has the capabilities of playing in a game like this. They have no mental or physical toughness to outmatch anything the Chiefs can throw at them, especially Spags. Um, I just do not think our defense is in the right mindset or anything, to be out there to compete against these teams. I don't care
Yeah.
that the Chiefs are 1-2. I'm not going to get burned by saying, "Oh, we're going to figure it out all of a sudden and win." I just do not think that's in the cards for us on Sunday. Um, yeah, I think we lose. What did I say? 19-27.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, so that could be anything from missed extra point to a touchdown, only one touchdown and a field goal, a whole bunch of field goals. I don't know, but again, I just do not think that the Ravens they're not in the right mindset right now, and I just think they're going to start season 1-3, unfortunately. And I don't know. I just hopefully that means the changes are made after today because I feel like we've been talking about the same thing around the same group of guys for a long time now, and I just think that it's stale at this point, and it's frustrating as well. We're holding back a lot of potential, and maybe this could be a good thing.
Yeah. If we're struggling, and changes need to be immediately made, and we definitely need to see that. It's been coming for a long time now, so I can get down with that. I hope we don't lose though, but change is part. But that's our prediction. It's our breakout player and our bold plays of the game. I have us winning. Jared has us losing. Hopefully we win. But all in all, some progress. And we want to see this team, go towards the right direction and win a Super Bowl. No matter how it takes to get there, we just want to see that. But that's all we got for you guys today in this video. Just a quick, pregame. Hopefully we can get the dub tomorrow. Big game. Make sure to check out our social medias, our Instagram, our TikTok, or Twitter. Also shout out to Jared, for making some great thumbnails. Recently, he cooked up that thumbnail against the Lions. So hope the Ravens didn't hold up the end of the bargain and won for him, but they're gonna do it tomorrow and Sunday. So shout out to Jared. Make sure you make some extra likes and some extra comments on this video for that. Also check out our second channel, Casual Cinema. I think I've said this for the past, I almost said 5 videos, the past 3 videos. We're going to see him soon. I just have to hit one of these bets to get some money. I was just playing. We're going to see him soon, though. And, we're going to review and watch it and talk about it. So check out that second channel, Casual Cinema. And that's all we got for you guys today with Birds Play Sports. Around.
Wow.